up guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, the last couple of videos that I uploaded, besides the one I just did last Wednesday, were about dyeing hair. So yeah, I do know, I have experience with dyeing hair and I know what I'm talking about for the most part with it when it comes to dyeing hair. And by the way, so yeah, let's chat about dyeing hair and like what you need to know about dyeing hair, and or should I say what I think you need to know about dyeing hair. For one, just got done showering, and so I have a little clip of what the water looks like after I got done showering, and my hair is orange and red right now. So yeah. Whenever you take a shower, if you have like an unnatural color in your hair, then it's never permanent. It's always semi-permanent, which means it'll wash out, and it'll wash out every single time you take a shower or like you get water in your hair or whatever. A little bit will come out. Some people call it bleeding, like your hair is bleeding when the dye starts to come out and whatever. So yeah. So my history with dyeing hair. My great-grandmother was a hairstylist, so she did hair dyeing and stuff like that. And my mother, that's why my mother started to dye her hair, because she was inspired, I think. Anyway, so my mother has dyed her hair every color of the rainbow, of every shade of that color, except for like gray and yellow, because, well, she did her hair yellow when she bleached it, but she like didn't keep it that way. And so yeah, and that's where I got my inspiration to dyeing my hair. And I have dyed my hair several colors before. I've never went red until last month, and I never went orange until now, and I never went green until the month before last month, aka March. Anyways though, so I'm doing all of the colors. Now, most people dye their hair either purple, pink, blue, or red, and specifically in that order usually, I think. So that's like the most. Top 4 people usually dye their hair. You will see a few people here and there that have their hair colored green, but not very often. And hardly anyone ever dyes their hair orange. And if they do dye their hair orange, they usually have their hair dyed in like different strips of it, or like just the bottom half of it. They never do the whole hair. So me having orange hair gets a lot of attention. Like if I'm walking over to work, people literally honk at me, and people say that they like my hair all the time, and I get compliments and stuff like that. So yeah, when you have your hair orange, you will get a lot of attention, like a lot of attention. If you have your hair purple or blue, then people compliment it once in a while, but they won't like talk about it all the time. Especially if your hair, like if you do like just part of your hair, like just the bottom half or whatever, then you don't really get that much attention. If you do like your whole head of hair, then people always notice it, like literally always notice it. So if you want to dye your hair, you just have to know that you're going to get some attention depending on what color you dye your hair, depending on how much attention you will get. And so also when you dye your hair, my personal preference to use is Arctic Fox, because it, for one, smells really good, and for two, it's actually good for your hair. Like, as I said, my mom has dyed her hair every shade of every color of the rainbow. And she's gone through a lot of different products of different hair stuff, and she says that Manic Panic and Arctic Fox are the best for your hair, and Splat is the worst for your hair. So even though I have noticed that Splat has it stay in longer, like you can wash your hair completely out, but you will still see like a hint of the color mixed with your natural color or whatever with Splat. And I guess that's the only really good thing about it. Unless you don't want to have your hair like that color forever. Basically, you can't, if you use Splat, you have to cut the color out if you don't want it anymore. But with Arctic Fox or Manic Panic, then it will wash out over time. And if you just want to keep the color, you just have to keep applying it to it. But if you want your hair to come back normal, then you don't have to cut it out, you just have to wash it. Just wash it, keep washing. And like I said before, every time you shampoo your hair or wash it, then the dye will come out. But what a lot of people surprisingly don't know is that if you dye your hair and then you like go swimming or whatever, the chlorine will take a ton of hair dye out of your hair. Like, it'll take more hair dye out of your hair than it will if you shampoo it. And then if you wash your hair after swimming, then that will take another bit of dye out of your hair. So what I did when we went swimming every week, after I dyed my hair, I just put it up in a huge bun on my head, and then I just didn't get my hair wet because I didn't want my hair to like get undone when I did that. And so yeah, I guess that's really all people need to know about dyeing hair. Simply that dyeing your hair is, well, okay, so it is bad for your hair, but it's not that bad for your hair. If you dye your hair, if you like change your hair color every single week, that's bad for your hair. But if you dye your hair and then you just like wash your hair once or twice a week, or maybe 3 times a week, it'll keep your hair color in longer. So like basically don't get your hair wet. Like, you can still take a shower every day, just don't get your hair wet. And so you have to let your hair like sit for a while and like give it a rest, especially if you're bleaching it. So if you have darker hair and you need to bleach your hair, definitely give it a rest. Otherwise you will definitely damage your hair a lot, and then you will probably have to cut it off, otherwise it will look really bad. So yeah, at least don't dye your hair like maybe every 4 weeks if you need to. Always buy gloves because you need them, and they will dye, the dye will stay on your skin longer than it will stay in your hair, by the way. That's a good tip I just gave you. So yeah, I guess that's the end of this video, and I hope you guys learned something new about hair dyeing, and I hope I encouraged you to dye your hair. And I guess I will see you guys in my next video. If you're new, subscribe and hit the like button and hit the bell to get notified whenever I post. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!